Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, hello, my name is Lena Norms. I make videos about feminism. We need to get back on that. Feminism, politics, books, how to hack your life, and poetry. Did I get the list? I should have said I'm a creator without a proper branding strategy, but that is all by the by. Recently I made a video called Honest Advice for Surviving Your 20s. That is here if you haven't seen it before. In it I shared lots of tips and advice on how I have survived the last 9 years of my 20s. From how to cook rice to how to tell whether your relationship is worth going through with. The best part of sharing that video that a lot of people found helpful was hearing all of your advice in the comments, and some of it was such gold dust, diamonds in the rough, that I had to share it. I had to make this spread wider, make sure that everybody heard about it, because it was brilliant. So this is just going to be me reacting to your advice for how to survive your 20s. Let's go. It's radish time. If you don't watch It's Radish Time on YouTube, you should. Top thing I've learned in my 20s. If you don't like a thing, you are allowed to leave. Weird, because I think we condition children and teenagers to feel like they don't have autonomy in their education and how they spend their teens. I mean, I guess early teens, fair enough, but later teens, I'm like, no, we're not going to give them any kind of choice, no autonomy whatsoever. That doesn't seem like it's going to damage them 10 years down the line. Definitely not, that's fine. Taylor has a point. It seems obvious to a lot of us who grew up in a certain kind of education system. It's not. Her whole advice says, if you don't like a thing, you're allowed to leave. Could be a job, a city, a relationship, a marriage. All of the above for me. You're not doing anyone any favours of staying in a situation that makes you miserable. It may be hard, it may take some planning, especially financially. You may disappoint people. But if you really want to leave, you are allowed to leave. I don't know who needs to hear that, but I'd be excited in the comments to hear why you need to hear that, because there's just so much to do in this life, and there's also so much to fuck off. Madeline Anderson says, just because you seem happy at the moment doesn't mean that this is you at your happiest. Oh, so true, Madeline. Oh my God, you hit me in the feels. I have, sometimes, I don't know how much to share about how I feel about my career at the moment, but often I have felt in my life that I am really bossing plan B. Is doing plan B really well and not trying plan A a good thing? Anyway, yes, I resonate with that. So many different ways to be happy, and it's hard to tell whether you could be happier or you're just being greedy. Christine Holloman says, actually, they give loads and loads of advice because Christine is over 30. Actually, a lot of you in the comments are over 30, and it was so useful to hear. Most of you were just like, it gets better in your 30s. The 30s are the best decade. Stop being scared of it. And I was like, this is so validating. Thank you. Prints out, sticks to wall. My favourite bit of advice that Christine gave was, knowing someone a long time ago does not mean you have to keep giving them your time and energy. People ebb and flow. Friendships change. Relationships change. Let them go with as much grace and kindness as you can, but leave the guilt. I always need to hear that, and I think I've been on both sides of that, and I think it's interesting also if you flip that advice and be like, know when somebody else is trying to move on, and consider that friendships change, and whether you're assessing that clearly. I don't know, it's interesting. I had several validating comments like this one, like Priscilla from Brazil, who says, as a Brazilian, I can attest that is in fact the Brazilian way to make rice. Confirmed by many Brazilians in the comments. Sarah Barry had a funny comment to say about not telling people when you're about to do stuff. While I definitely recommend going and doing things and telling people after, I would just like to make the adjustment that you will still get some comments, but the people who give you negative comments are, 1, probably quite traditional and they'll come around eventually, or 2, genuinely an asshole and not worth your time. Everyone else will probably be super supportive. I didn't tell anyone I was cutting off my hair, which is easily over 12 inches, until I was already at the hairdresser. Respect to you, Sarah. Fly Dorsch says, I think jealousy is okay, but just because I'm jealous of someone doesn't mean I actually want to be them. I was in theatre but couldn't get my foot in the door, and when I see other people in plays or musical theatre, I'm terribly jealous, but I'm not willing to make all the sacrifices I know they make. A lot of my friends struggle to find jobs, are hanging between gigs all the time, and I just couldn't do that. Letting go of dreams is hard, but sometimes you have to realise that maybe your dream is not working for you in the real world, and that is okay. I have a very similar story about theatre, Fly Dorsch, and I completely feel you. When you have a dream, there is always a lifestyle attached, and if the lifestyle isn't your dream, then it's kind of negates the idea of a dream. Now, this is the wholesome content you tuned in for. Georgia Milroy points out that if you cut a small hole in the seam of the crotch of your tights, you can pull them up and they will stay up. I am going to try this, Georgia, and I will report back because, if true, hilarious. Katie Windsor, Princess Kate, is that you? Is the Middletons watch Leader Norm's plot twist. Katie Windsor appreciated the tights strategy as life-changing, and she would also recommend that if you suffer with dyslexia like me, just give up telling people about it. They're going to get bored of correcting your spelling mistakes much quicker than you are going to stop getting mad when they just don't understand or realise how much of an issue it is. That's interesting. I don't have dyslexia, but that is a really interesting point. I don't know if anybody with dyslexia wants to hear that or needs to, or if you have dyslexia and you feel differently. Leave it in the comments below, but I thought it was an interesting one to include. Katie Skate says, speaking particularly as a retail pharmacist, you will suffer fools and you will want to yell at them so much, but it doesn't fix anything, and if you do, you will usually feel worse. Maybe consider bare knuckle boxing instead. And she also points out that being the housemate you wish others were applies even when you live alone. Jenny Whitaker says, nothing in the world makes me feel as great in my own skin as dancing. I don't mean proper dancing, I mean putting on some banging tunes and dancing around the kitchen and wiggling as much as possible. Honestly, my life has improved so much since I discovered this. And I replied, suggesting Asante the artist. I don't know if anybody follows her on YouTube or Instagram, but she is doing like daily dance outs on Instagram that are very healing. So would recommend if you are thinking about integrating dancing into your life. Cassia says, the thing I wish I'd known, you can apply the same criteria to your friendships and relationships. You're sad because the direction your friendship is going in. You can have a meta conversation with this friend, just like you would have with a partner. You wouldn't be friends with the person you're dating. Time to rethink this arrangement. Magic. Indeed, Cassia. Love it. Goddess Athena talks very eloquently about stopping wasting your money on shit. It's very true. Your money is effectively your time. Don't waste your time. If your friends are spending £15 on a bougie cocktail that tastes like a musty 5-year-old lollipop and you aren't into that, don't buy one yourself. We have all tasted the musty lollipop cocktail, thank you, Athena. Jerry had a good one. Thoughts are just thoughts. They don't actually mean anything unless you act upon them. The Uncommon Viewer says, if you're drinking alcohol, always intersperse every 2 drinks with a quick glass of water. If you are too drunk, it will save you from regret. If you're not too drunk, it will hydrate you. Win-win. Polisa says, one thing I wish I knew was, it's totally okay to say, you know what? I don't know. And that doesn't mean I'm a colossal idiot. It just means that I don't have enough data at that moment in time. A lesson we could send to Downing Street. No? Julia has something they learnt in their early teens, that most of the things you do that you think are embarrassing or mean or negative in some way aren't going to matter in 6 months. Also, just cut or dye your hair however you want because it's just hair and it'll grow back, or you can cut it off again. If any of you are in the Gumption Club, which is my Patreon only group, and have access to 200 of my old videos, you can see the whole fucked up funfair ride that my hair has gone on. It is truly astonishing, and I would completely agree, Julia. It does in fact grow back. Book binging blog has a really good one. Not sharing is sometimes caring. Does this info about a random fact or event help in any way anyone involved in this convo? No? Maybe silence is more helpful. Holly's, whose channel is very good, you should watch it. Everything is a negotiation until someone says it's not for them. Ask for what you need. I feel simultaneously incredibly called out and tremendously seen. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. I am very, very glad that that video helped so many of you. I'm gonna break a crown in half. A piece for you, a piece for you, some for you, Glen Coco. Because she fractured her spine and she still looks like a rock star. Please, we can still keep accumulating knowledge. It is not too late. There is unlimited amount of knowledge to know about your 20s. So if you have some more advice about surviving your 20s, please leave them in these comments below. Maybe, who knows, I'll make another one. So many. And I will probably be focusing a lot more on like the 20s experience, I guess, because so many of you had so many more questions and I have so many more opinions. Thinking of calling it the 20s toolkit. What do you think? Tell me in the short and curlies. we need new names. Thank you so much for watching this video. And all like it on my channel have been brought to you by the very generous people at the Gumption Club. They are paying the coffees forward so you can watch these videos for free. That's nice of them. If you'd like to become one of the angels of this channel that make it possible for everybody else to watch, link in the description, or the long and windies. And I'll see you in my next one. It's that simple. Frog Snog out.